We're going to be talking about Mary Thatcher. Was she a victim or a con artist? Miss Harding poisoned her husband. We know this did not happen, but the story that President Warren G. Harding died of poison administered by his wife first appeared in the sensational book, The Strange Death of Warren Harding, written by Gaston B. Means. Former Justice Department employee, several years after President Harding died, he did not really write it. It was May Dixon Thacker that really wrote the book for Means. The book claims that Miss Harding had come to her late husband after discovering his love affair with Nan Britton, and that she was also afraid that the revelations of corruption in his administration might lead to impeachment. So in 1923, she enlisted the help of Surgeon General Charles Sawyer, an old Ohio friend of Harding's, in administering poison to the ailing president in the guise of medicine, and he quickly died. There was no autopsy. Means' book became the bestseller. Even ordinary level-headed reviewers were for a time taken by the revelations. The following year, however, Means' ghostwriter, which was May, wrote an article for Liberty magazine entitled Debunking the Strange Death of President Harding, in which she confessed with humiliation and injustice to the dead that the book was a tremendous hoax. Means, as it turns out, was a swindler, blackmailer, and a fraud. Means was serving time in Atlanta prison when he first discussed with Miss Thatcher the possibility of writing a book about President Harding. When Means got out of prison, he began meeting regularly with Miss Thatcher and pouring out a series of sleazy stories for her book to write in the book, all which were untrue. Some examples were sexual affairs, drunken orgies, and bribery and graft among the president's appointees. In the evening, Means and his wife hooted over the tales that he made up to tell Miss Thatcher during the day. Means had never met the president or his wife. He has never been in the White House as well. He never produced the diary or letter he claimed he had of Nan Britton that showed that she was a mistress of the president. In her piece for Liberty magazine, Miss Thatcher said that she was hoodwinked by Means and that the book they turned out was a colossal hoax, a tissue of falsehoods from the beginning to the end. There was nothing sinister about President Harding's death in 1923. His health was bad, and he was very depressed by the revelations of graft, corruption that came to the light in 1922 and 1923, involving friends he appointed to the high office. His wife was also equally depressed. While on tour of the West Coast, he died of a serious heart attack. He died instantly. Miss Harding fell apart after his death, but finally pulled herself together and resolved, "I will not break down." The night before the funeral, she went to the East Room of the White House, where her husband laid in state, and sat quietly for a long time. "No one will hurt you now, Warren," she finally said, and then went over, made up a little bouquet from the array of flowers sent for the funeral, and placed it on the coffin. She deeply loved her husband. Miss Thatcher never wrote another book after this hoax. It broke her spirit. She said she was fooled, but we must ask this question: how did she find out a year later that she was fooled?